David Grubnick tuned top fuel drag. Long odds for Mr. Crispin here.
Long odds, but you see that gentleman right there walking away from the car. That's Del Worsham. So I don't think they're going to take a very big gamble. We mentioned at the top of the show, we've already seen that the cars that we expected to win have advanced. So these are very predictable conditions to forecast. But for Del Worsham, he has to be thinking, let's just try to make a solid run, not run anything outside of the realm that we feel this car will run, and hope that Brittany Force can overpower this racetrack.
Big power can sometimes come with big consequences. David Grubnick's car, of course, beastly in its ability to make that horsepower, but applying it on an ever-warming track is the trick. You can see Brittany's car emitting a very high header flame on one side, but man, 377.9, 320 miles an hour. A nice run in round one. 408 for Crispin. Like you said, it is a solid run, but not certainly good enough. Our next pair up will pit Brittany Force in the Monster Energy Top Fuel Dragster against Tony Stewart in the Dodge Direct Connection Machine on the right-hand side of your screen. For Brittany Force, the multi-time champion. This is her multi-time champion crew chief, David Grubnick. John Collins and team getting the final preparations made on the engine. Brittany is one of the most successful racers in Top Fuel history, a two-time champion, the second woman to win the Top Fuel Championship. The first, of course, being three-time champion Shirley Muldowney, 77, 1980, and then 1982. But across the racetrack lies a very big opponent here, Tony Stewart, as John Force looks on.
Yeah, for Tony Stewart, they had some traction issues in that first round, so not only are they going to have to deal with making the proper adjustments, they have to deal with the track. We're going to talk about that, has lost some of its grip.
Stewart trying to pedal his way to glory. Not going to happen. David Grubnick's tune-up delivers a 379 at 328 miles an hour. Impressive in the face of the 384 we just saw from Sean Langdon.
Well, you take a look at the car, and it is without those side canard wings that we've been talking about all weekend. These teams are allowed 4 races for NHRA to determine whether they're going to allow them to compete with them or if they're going to lose them altogether. They do produce a little more downforce, but this team has really stepped out of the box and opted to go without them. You can see for Tony Stewart, he has his on. I figured on a warmer day like this, most teams would keep him on because they need the downforce. However, for David Grubnick, the tuner for Brittany Force, he is going without him in that car. It's all about managing the power in relation to the clutch properly, and they did a masterful job here.
Well, as you can see behind me, Brittany Force is one of the lone Top Fuel dragsters electing to run without the mud flaps here in competition. How much impact do you think that'll have on race day?
Right now we're just looking at, testing it. I've run, my entire career with mud flaps, so we've removed them to see what we could do. So far we're in a pretty good place, but I just want to say a big thank you to this Monster Energy team, and we're really excited. We powered up with Powers Affordable Housing, GRP, big exciting things happening in John Force Racing pits this weekend.
Sean Langdon and Brittany Force will take on the racetrack and each other in this semifinal round. The Lucas Oil helicopter showing us Force's car left side of your screen. The Coletta Air Rev Chem Composites Toyota dragster of Langdon on the right. Tony, there's something really impressive about Sean. He's very analytical and cold. When he has to race a guy like Ashley, we never see that fall off the next round. Some people get hyped up on the adrenaline and can't back it up. He's not one of them.
No, and at this stage of the game, you can't afford to. And if you're into numbers, which is what a driver like Sean Langdon does, he's going to size up his opponent. He realizes that Brittany Force was the quickest car in the second round. Everybody else was 300 to 400s off, so he's going to do the math. They're shutting Brittany Force off.
Wow, Brittany Force being shut down at the starting line. This means that Sean Langdon will race Doug Coletta in all Coletta final, and Langdon's trying to win this race for the second year straight. It is now the third year in a row he's running the finals here in Arizona. And they were loaded up. Goes a 383 at 325 miles an hour. So Connie Coletta, who is sitting trackside right now, has a smile like a Cheshire cat. Both of his cars will race in the final round.
Of course, all eyes are going to be on this car to figure out why they shut that car off. Typically, it's a fuel leak, maybe an oil leak. If it's a fuel leak, you can fix it. If it's an oil leak and oil on the track, they're not going to run the car.
It does appear as the response, Bruno, you're down there around the car.
Yeah, Brian, I just talked to John Collins. He told me that when it did the burnout, it actually cracked something in the valve cover and it started spraying oil out of it. There was no way they can fix it at that point. The only choice they had was to shut it down.
Tough break, and these cars move a massive volume of oil through their engines to keep them alive through a run. So when there's any small problem, it becomes a big fountain. Langdon and Coletta. Connie's happy. Doug Coletta is at the top end of the race service and getting ready for the next round, including a fresh fresh engine going in for the semifinals, which is not uncommon.
It's not uncommon. It could be happening for two reasons. Maybe the crank shaft was cracked. They're not going to replace the crank. They're going to replace that entire short block. But most of the time, it seems like this is very controlled. They will get X amount of runs out of an engine before they swap it out. It's not going to change anything. The short blocks are built identically. They are going to, however, make the adjustments by way of the thickness of the head gaskets and the overdrive for the blower. There's one of those pulleys.
For this week's Peak, did you know we sat down with John Force?
It was announced this week that Robert Hight has departed John Force Racing as president of the company and as a former funny car driver. In your words, what has been Robert's legacy on John Force Racing?
Well, he's an NHRA world champion. He could drive the race car, not a problem. He worked good with the sponsors, great interview, but he knew the race cars from one end to the other. That's why I made him president of the company, and that's what he earned that right.
So, in your words, how should drag racing remember Robert Hight?
That he was a true friend to me, you know, but he was a friend to all of the teams. He worked it hard. When he crashed in St. Louis, I drove him to the hospital, and I told him, I thought you were dead. And he said, nope, just fix me up. And he got back in the car, and he was, you know, a tiger at the next race. So he gets it, he understands it. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Why is Austin Crock the future of funny car?
One, he's a great driver, and I like to take credit for teaching him, but I didn't. If anything, Robert did, you know, that helped him along the way. We put him in a dragster, he was good, put him in a funny car, set him on fire, and he got out with that big smile on his face, ready to go again, just fearless. But he comes from a family, and the kid's just cut right from the right cloth, and he knows how to interview. He knows when the boss is upside down, not to mess with him, because my deal is, if I can find the money, that's what I got to be left to do. I ain't making no promises, because even if the fans quit coming, I'd be out here, because I love NHRA drag racing, and I've really grown pretty close to Cromwell, and just what we talk about in our personal life. So that's all for me. Did I put you to sleep?
No.
Okay. Well, let's go watch our hot rods and see what we can do. Thank you. Say hi to Mom.
Absolutely.
Don't forget.
The unsinkable John Force.